Chapter 381. He is Lin Lan's master. Silence. Deathly stillness. Disciples on the martial arts practice field, including those high-ranking experts in the stands, were all shocked with widened eyes. Such a powerful killing intent. The more Jian Wushuang comprehended slaughter origin, the more aggressive was his killing intent. Fully unleashing his killing intent, Jian Wushuang could even frighten experts in pinnacle of the Saint Realm, let alone those of the Lin family. Even Saint Realm experts of Lin family had never seen such a powerful killing intent. It was too powerful for them to fight. At the moment, Jian Wushuang's eyes turned to First Madam and his cold voice drummed heavily in her heart. Traveling around the world, I say what I want, do what I want. Can't I express my thoughts in the Lin family? First Madam, I am here now. Please repeat what you said just now. Jian Wushuang said in a forceful tone. He slowly spoke the words one by one. Each one finished with more powerful killing intent, which terrified First Madam more and more. When he finished saying that, the killing intent in him had risen to the peak. First Madam felt like she was on the brink of breakdown. Eyes wide opened and her graceful face reddened. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. It was as if she was choked. Horror. Covering all of her. She suffered in the horror, every second. However, Jian Wushuang was stern, cool and unmoved. Lin family, a mid-sized family in Iron Saber territory, had 8 Saint Realm experts. However, the strongest hadn't reached pinnacle of the Saint Realm yet but was just in stage 3 domain. Therefore, Jian Wushuang didn't take them to heart. Mr. Swordsman. Lin Xian said and looked at Jian Wushuang with fear. They thought Jian Wushuang was just an ordinary young Saint Realm expert. But he was not. He must be an old monster, definitely old, but retaining youthful looks in some way, roared Saint Realm experts of Lin family in their mind. They couldn't imagine how strong Jian Wushuang was. How could he be 20 years old? Mr. Swordsman, forgive us, it's just a misunderstanding. Lin Xian was modest and said respectfully. Jian Wushuang snorted and then the explosive killing intent slowly withdrew. Feeling the killing intent vanishing, they let out a sigh of relief. However, First Madam's face was still red. She took a glance at Jian Wushuang in fear and dared not to say anything. Elder Lin Zong. Jian Wushuang looked at him and said coldly, "You said that my disciple killed those 7 spirit beasts with external treasure. Could you tell us what she used and how she killed the 7 beasts at peak of the Yang Void Realm in half a day? You'd better tell us every detail, otherwise, I promise you won't live to tomorrow." It. Jian Wushuang's words made Lin Zong's flesh creep. Thinking of the terrible killing intent, Lin Zong couldn't help breaking into a cold sweat and stammering badly. Mr. Swordsman, please excuse Elder Lin Zong for having offended your disciple just now. Lin Xian was defending for Lin Zong, but suddenly he realized, disciple? People on the martial arts practice field were also surprised. Disciple? Did Swordsman say that she was his disciple? At the moment, Lin Lan bowed respectfully and said, Master. Eminencia. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Their conversation confirmed the relationship between them. Has Lin Lan made Swordsman her master? That's why Swordsman spoke out for her. Surely a master would. People on the martial arts practice field understood. Lin Lan. Jian Wushuang called. Lin Lan turned. Since they questioned your strength, prove yourself. Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice. Yes. Lin Lan nodded. Then she turned and looked at Lin Yu, who was still stunned in amazement. Lin Yu. Lin Lan shot a sharp and cold sight. Immediately a strong spiritual power burst out. It shocked all people at the spot. Peak of Yang Void Realm. How could that be? She had slipped back to profound Yin Void Realm 3 days ago. Could it be? One possibility came into their thought. Which could explain it? That was, the witch poison in Lin Lan's body had been removed. How could that be? People in the stands were also in shock. They had tried many ways to remove the witch poison from Lin Lan by asking for help from experts and alchemists, even experts of pinnacle of the Saint Realm. However, all failed. How could the witch poison be removed? Within 3 days, not only had the witch poison been removed, but her strength was fully restored. In a mysterious way, people in the stands, including Lin Xian and First Madam, turned to Jian Wushuang, who sat in a chair tapping his fingers on the chair with a light smile. They knew what Lin Lan was like 3 days ago. Today, however, Lin Lan regained her strength and called Swordsman Master. They also saw the terrible killing intent Jian Wushuang released just now. All these had proved it. It was him who removed the witch poison in Lin Lan's body and brought her strength back within 3 days. All this was due to Swordsman. Chapter 382. I don't want to marry him. Peak of Yang Void Realm. Lin Yu, who had always been holding her head high in front of Lin Lan, was stunned after seeing Lin Lan regain her full spiritual power. Ignoring Lin Yu's look of shock, Lin Lan went directly to Lin Yu and slapped her face fiercely. Lin Yu instinctively wanted to dodge, but the slap, containing world origin, was too fast and overwhelming. Thwack! A heavy slap turned Lin Yu's face red. Before Lin Yu reacted, Lin Lan slapped again. Thwack! Thwack! Another 2 slaps fell on her right cheek. 3 slaps in total. After that, Lin Yu's face turned red and swollen. Blood streamed out of her mouth and her blank eyes were widely opened. All were silent. After she finished her slaps, Lin Lan turned and left without a word. What a domineering demeanor! Lin family's disciples on the martial arts practice field gazed at her figure in shock. They knew, the peerless genius they admired 2 years ago had returned. Lin Lan walked to the stands and raised her head, looking at those in the stands. Taking a deep breath, Lin Lan said slowly, "Someone suggested or even decided to marry me to Luo Hai. I want to say, I refuse." A simple but clear answer made all of them awestruck. Lin Lan herself let out a long sigh of relief. When she knew her family had decided to marry her to Luo Hai, she felt desperate. Because she was weak and unimportant in the Lin family, no one would listen to her. But now, things had changed. She had regained her strength. The peerless genius had returned. Most importantly, she had an unfathomable and powerful master. She was more confident because of her master's support. In the stands, those high-ranking experts of Lin family were irritated because Lin Lan had defied their decision. But they dared not say anything. After all, Lin Lan's master, Swordsman, was still there. Jian Wushuang, the person they feared, stood up slowly and looked at Lin Lan with a smile. He walked slowly down the stands and went to the courtyard where he lived. Lin Lan followed him. Soon they walked out of their sight. As soon as they left, the martial arts practice field was in an uproar. In a secret chamber of Lin family's mansion. "Kill her! I will kill her! Mother, kill the bitch! Kill her!" Lin Yu, whose face was still red and swollen, roared crazily. Being slapped 3 slaps in front of so many disciples and experts of Lin family, how could she not be furious? "Shut up!" First Madam yelled at her. "I didn't expect she would gain the upper hand again. If I knew this, I would have killed her rather than poisoned her." First Madam's face was cold and venomous. Yes, it was First Madam who poisoned Lin Lan 2 years ago. But she didn't kill her out of some considerations. Because at that time, Lin Lan had a high status in Lin family and they all treated her as a treasure. Even top experts in Iron Saber territory said they wanted to take Lin Lan as their personal disciple. Besides, she had little control of the Lin family at that time and dared not kill her. That's why she waited and took action to kill her only after Lin Lan had lost her status in the Lin family. She didn't expect Jian Wushuang to save her. "Lin Zong, what do you think about Swordsman?" First Madam looked at Lin Zong. Lin Zong stood and frowned. After a while, he said seriously, "Madam, Swordsman is strong. Though he has not displayed it yet, his terrible killing intent proved that he is very strong. Besides, he removed the witch poison, which so many experts, including experts at Pinnacle of the Saint Realm, can't. All these prove that he is powerful. At least no one in our family can deal with him." Lin Zong knew this. Lin family was just a mid-sized family in Iron Saber territory. The strongest expert in the Lin family was at Stage 3 domain. Anyone of Pinnacle of the Saint Realm could do anything he wanted to the Lin family. Lin Zong estimated that Jian Wushuang was at least at Pinnacle of the Saint Realm. "Bastard! Who is he? First Madam said with insidious and cold eyes. Madam, honestly, we, even the whole Lin family, should not provoke swordsmen. Lin Zong said in a deep voice. First Madam's face fell, but she smiled coldly the next second. Sure, swordsman is so strong that we cannot afford to provoke him. But someone else can. Ha! Lin Zong turned to First Madam. Lin Lan said that she refused to marry Luo Hai in front of all of us, didn't she? The two families had made a deal long ago. If Lin Lan refused it, do you think the playboy Luo Hai will leave the matter at that? A sneaky smile rose on First Madam's face. Madam, you mean? Lin Zong frowned and looked at her. Send a message to Luo Hai immediately, but keep in mind, to Luo Hai rather than the Luo family. First Madam ordered. Lin Zong understood that and nodded heavily. Snaky coldness flashed in First Madam's eyes and a cold voice sounded. Swordsman, we can't provoke you, but the Luo family can. Chapter 383, Visiting the Luo Family. Inside the courtyard, Jian Wushuang sat at a stone table, looking at Lin Lan, who was practicing sword arts. Each move she brandished moved the power of heaven and earth and contained world origin. Have a break, Jian Wushuang suddenly said. Master. Lin Lan stopped and looked over at Jian Wushuang. You're quite good at sword principle but weak at offense. Jian Wushuang said, I know a sword skill of world origin, not recorded in an origin manual. I will demonstrate this now. Look carefully. Jian Wushuang showed it right away. What he displayed was a superior second-grade sword technique, called Sword World. Jian Wushuang had been staying in the Sword Tower of Ancestors' Land for a whole year and meditated on a lot of sword skills, including some sword skills of world origin, among which Sword World was at the highest grade. In a moment, Jian Wushuang finished the first 3 movements of Sword World. He explained each move while performing, so as to help Jian Lan understand it more deeply. That's it. Practice and study by yourself and come to me if you have any questions. Jian Wushuang said. Yes. Lin Lan nodded. While at this moment, they heard some footsteps. Lei Yun hurriedly ran in. Miss Lana, Mr. Swordsman. Lei Yun went in the courtyard and bowed, said, Luo Hai, of Luo family, comes. What? Lin Lan was surprised. Jian Wushuang also frowned slightly. Lots of footsteps and other voices came from outside. Master Luo Hai, it's a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? She has refused in public. What do you want to explain? Master Luo Hai, it's not what you think, we didn't mean to. I don't care. I want to know how dare she refuses the engagement. The voices were getting louder. Soon many people rushed into the courtyard. First came an unruly, insidious, and supercilious man, followed by a purple-clothed elder who had already reached the Saint Realm. Lin families including Lin Xian and First Madam also walked in and then stood aside. Lin Xian looked embarrassed, while First Madam's face was cold with cruelty in her eyes. As soon as he rushed into the courtyard, Luo Hai was surprised to find that Lin Lan was beautiful. I heard you were a beauty. You really are. And you are also a genius. I like this. Luo Hai said with an evil smile. What does Master Luo Hai come for? Lin Lan asked coldly. Of course I came for our engagement. Luo Hai said evilly. Sorry, I have never promised to marry you, said Lin Lan. I don't care. No one can refuse me. Since your family has promised, you have to marry me. Luo Hai's face fell and said, Elder Wu, take the girl away immediately. I'm interested to see who dares to stop me. Yes, nodded the purple-clothed elder beside Luo Hai. Master Luo Hai, you can't. People of the Lin family were shocked. But before they stopped him, the purple-clothed elder had already taken action. Young lady, you'd better go with us. The purple-clothed smiled coldly and said. Then he went to Lin Lan in a blink, reached out his shriveled hand and tried to catch Lin Lan. However, at the same time, Jian Wushuang moved too. Before the purple-clothed elder reached Lin Lan, a black-robed young man, wearing a long sword on his back, stood in the way. The cold young man waved his sleeve and said, Scram. He shouted with a huge power blasting out of his sleeve. What? Feeling a huge impact force coming to him, the purple-clothed elder was attacked. Immediately he spat out blood and landed heavily on the wall. The wall was destroyed. All experts of Lin family felt a sudden throb in their heart after seeing that. Such an easy wave of a sleeve, seriously injuring a Saint Realm expert at third stage domain. How terrifying was his strength. After beating back the purple-clothed elder, Jian Wushuang shot a cold sight and flashed before Luo Hai. Boom! An incredibly strong killing intent surrounded Luo Hai. His brain was in a buzz, eyes opened widely and standing still in shock, he wet his pants. A good-for-nothing. Jian Wushuang looked down at Luo Hai with disdain. Then Luo Hai heard a deep voice. We did deal with the engagement in an improper way. Tomorrow, I will take my disciple to your mansion and apologize to Luo family. Now, you can go. After saying that, the killing intent on Jian Wushuang vanished and Luo Hai came to himself. Go, let's go. Luo Hai had already been scared silly. He took the purple-clothed elder and staggered out of the Lin family at once. Witnessing what had happened, people of the Lin family couldn't help marveling at him. Master of Lin family, Lin Xian apologized. Mr. Swordsman, it's our fault to be thoughtless about Lana marriage. Sorry to bring you trouble. Trouble? No. I'm afraid we fell prey to a plot. Jian Wushuang's voice was cold. Fall prey to a plot? Lin Xian was confused. The news spreads so quickly. It took Luo Hai only half a day to receive the news and arrived here. Jian Wushuang sneered and shot a cold look at First Madam. First Madam was alarmed. Before she opened her mouth to explain for herself, a wind blew over. Jian Wushuang went to her and squeezed her neck, pulling her up. Mr. Swordsman. All of them were startled. Hum. Jian Wushuang snorted. He threw First Madam on a stone table, which smashed the table at once. Lana, to kill her or not depends on you. Looking at First Madam lying on her deathbed, Lin Lan's eyes flashed coldness but more hesitation. She squatted, and after a wave of her hand, First Madam's dantian was shattered. You have persecuted me many times and made me suffer, thinking it was better to die than to live. Today, I will pay you back by destroying your dantian. Jian Wushuang didn't stop her. Tomorrow, I will take you to Luo family. Chapter 384, Breaking Off the Engagement. Luo family, one of the 6 families in Iron Saber territory. Being a large family, Luo family possessed a much richer base and greater background compared to the Lin family. It had dozens of Saint Realm experts, even 3 in pinnacle of the Saint Realm. 2 figures were approaching the Luo family's mansion, a young man and a young beauty. Each wore a long sword on his and her back. Judging from their appearance, they were about the same age. People thought they were brother and sister at first sight, but never had imagined that they were master and disciple. Master, Luo family is one of the 6 families in Iron Saber territory. If we go inside and break off my engagement like this, it will bring shame to them. Lin Lan frowned slightly. I thought you didn't care. Jian Wushuang blinked his eyes. He shook his head, smiled and said, you have refused it in the presence of so many people. What's the difference? Lin Lan lowered her head. Let's go inside first. Soon Jian Wushuang and Lin Lan arrived at the void in front of the Luo family's mansion. Swordsman, coming to visit. Jian Wushuang's voice spread. Immediately dozens of figures flashed out in the void. Are you swordsman? The voice of an elder who had a cold face and looked like Luo Hai said. It was the great elder of Luo family, Luo Shan. Standing beside him was a middle-aged man with a solemn look, Luo family's master, Luo Hong. Another one who drew people's attention was a strapping man wearing a purple saber on his back, standing by Luo Hong's side. They knew why Jian Wushuang had come, so they didn't look happy. Dear gentlemen, I'm here to ask for a favor. My disciple is unwilling to marry Luo Hai. Therefore, can we break off the engagement? In compensation, here is an interspatial ring with lots of treasures and elixirs in it. Jian Wushuang gave it to them. Taking the interspatial ring, Luo Shan didn't even look at it. He said in a deep voice, so easy for you? So what do you want? Jian Wushuang said coldly. Simple. Luo Shan said, "Where are the 3 protectors?" Whoosh! 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 3 figures appeared before Jian Wushuang. 2 men and 1 woman, all reached the Saint Realm and the 3rd stage of domain. 1 step further, they would walk into pinnacle of the Saint Realm. "Strength speaks," said Luo Shan. "Swordsman, if you want to break off the engagement, defeat the 3 protectors first. Otherwise, we will not accept any compensation." Oh! Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and a smile appeared on his face. "Please." Jian Wushuang calmly looked at the 3 protectors. They looked at each other, nodded secretly. The next moment, they moved towards Jian Wushuang. Boom! A purple flowing light flashed like a ghost and rushed towards Jian Wushuang's head directly. Too fast. A normal Saint Realm expert would not be able to react to it. Experts of Luo family stood in the void and calmly watched. The 3 protectors have been together for years and they cooperate very well. They can even battle an expert at pinnacle of the Saint Realm. Therefore, it couldn't have been better to be able to test swordsman's strength with them. Luo Hong, Luo family's master, said with a smile. Being one large family, not only did the Luo family had deeper and stronger background, but it had a wiser and more far-sighted master than Lin family. Actually, after hearing the news yesterday, they had discussed how to test Jian Wushuang with the 3 protectors. If Jian Wushuang defeated them, it proved that Jian Wushuang's battle strength was in pinnacle of the Saint Realm. And they would like to do him a favor, accepting the compensation peacefully. However, if he was defeated, they would make it difficult. He should understand that to refuse the engagement with Luo family, one of the 6 families, one would need to pay something. Thwack! A loud thump sounded. Jian Wushuang attacked the purple flowing light. Jian Wushuang fought back with a naked fist. After seeing this, many experts were shocked. But the strapping man standing beside Luo Hong was interested. Such a strong body. He gasped with admiration. After the thump, Jian Wushuang motivated his force of gale and thunderbolt. Then 3 residual shadows appeared in the void and beat the 3 protectors back. Clearly, Jian Wushuang was the winner. The 3 protectors got back on their feet and looked, aghast, at Jian Wushuang. In a flash, he defeated all 3. Too fast. Too easy. They were far weaker than Jian Wushuang. Experts of Luo family were stunned. Stage 2. Luo Hong, Luo family's master, said with a grim look on his face, "Swordsman, his battle strength should be in stage 2. Yes. The strapping man beside agreed with interest flashed in his eyes. Then Luo Hong said, "Your strength impressed us. I agree to break off the engagement." "Thank you," Jian Wushuang said with a smile and felt relieved. He thought they would tangle with Luo family and have a fierce fight with them. But it seemed Luo family was much wiser. But at this moment, whoosh! A figure suddenly showed up in front of Jian Wushuang. It was the strapping man wearing a saber on his back and standing beside Luo Hong. "Mr. Lei Dao, what do you?" People of Luo family were confused. Staring at Jian Wushuang, Lei Dao's battle intent slowly increased. Chapter 385, Lei Dao. Jian Wushuang looked at the person facing him while frowning. This man exuded an extremely violent and overbearing aura, with fanatical eyes and overwhelming battle intent. "My name is Lei Dao, and my favorite thing in my life is to fight with real experts. In today's Iron Saber territory, I have challenged all the experts who have reached the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. It is rare to meet an expert like you who looks like someone at stage 2. Anyway, we have to fight a battle," Lei Dao said. "Stage 2? Jian Wushuang was surprised. "Master Luo Hong, would you mind if I fight with this swordsman in your Luo family mansion?" Lei Dao glanced at Luo Hong. "As long as you don't tear down my mansion, Mr. Lei Dao, just do whatever you want," Luo Hong said with a smile. "Swordsman, please." Lei Dao cupped one hand in the other before his chest towards Jian Wushuang to show courtesy, and then directly attacked him. A purple saber appeared in Lei Dao's hand, who had come in front of Jian Wushuang with only one single stride covering tens of jongs. The purple saber turned into a purple thunderbolt and was cleaving towards Jian Wushuang with a shrill boom across the void. Expert. Jian Wushuang's face turned gloomy. Just watching Lei Dao strike, Jian Wushuang understood immediately that he was facing a real expert. When the extremely overwhelming saber approached, even Jian Wushuang felt an unusually great pressure. The pressure was even greater than that brought to him when the 4 holy masters from the Holy Emperor Palace attacked him together at the palace. As for the strength of this Lei Dao, it was obviously far from being comparable to that of the 4 holy masters. Even the strongest first holy master was much weaker than him. While the saber was arriving, Jian Wushuang shook his body. Then, he stepped forward, with his right hand clenched tightly, and a blast of outrageous force was gathered. He directly punched forward with a boom. Rumbling at that moment, it seemed that the heaven and earth were trembling. Pang! Jian Wushuang's fist collided against the purple saber with a violent crash. His body was immediately blown backward, while Lei Dao's body also trembled. Hey! Lei Dao looked at Jian Wushuang in a surprise. He dared punch directly with his fist against my saber, and my saber did not split his palm? Jian Wushuang was also shocked. My flesh can compare with magic weapons, but when he struck, my palm was numbed. It's my limit to accept one of his strikes with my bare hands. I could never receive a second attack. Jian Wushuang secretly thought. Come again. Lei Dao laughed. Then he strode out again. He performed another violent cleave with his saber. This time, Jian Wushuang could not block it with bare hands. A long sword appeared in his hand. This sword was obtained from the Holy Emperor Palace. It was a medium second-grade magic weapon named Lonely Heart. There was no other way. The triple kill sword, as a first-grade magic weapon, was too well known. Hence, Jian Wushuang usually used this Lonely Heart sword in public battles. With a cold snort, the long sword in Jian Wushuang's hand turned into a ghost snake and swerved out. Hua! 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 There were 4 consecutive sword moves, each of which was amazingly fast with most eccentric angles, making that Lei Dao unable to resist with all of his power. After the 4 strikes, however, Jian Wushuang suddenly withdrew his body, with the sword in his hand cleaving out. The first-grade sword technique, dragon-killing sword technique, was displayed with immediately explosive power. Lei Dao tried to defend with his saber, but found his saber was struck away violently by Jian Wushuang's sword. Amazing! Lei Dao stood up firmly and looked with excited sparkling eyes at Jian Wushuang. You are extremely powerful. If I want to defeat you, I'm afraid that I would have to display my most powerful techniques. Yet, that technique can only be used in life and death struggles. Now we are just sparring, so it's not necessary for me to use it. Saying this, Lei Dao slowly sheathed his saber into the scabbard. Evidently, he had no more intent to fight against Jian Wushuang. Your strength is incredible. If you use your most powerful technique, I'm afraid I cannot withstand it. Jian Wushuang smiled modestly. Ha ha, swordsman, it's rare to meet with an expert like you. Let's have a good talk, okay? Lei Dao laughed. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded. He had found that Lei Dao was a bold and straightforward man with a free spirit, who was worth befriending. Anyway, he had just arrived at the Divine Land, and needed to know more. Perhaps he could get answers from Lei Dao. 2 warriors, the Luo family has prepared wine for you. You could have a good talk here. Luo Hong said at this moment. Thanks to Master. After thanking the Luo family, Jian Wushuang rushed to their mansion with Lei Dao, and Lin Lan obediently followed Jian Wushuang. In a manor of the mansion of Luo family, Jian Wushuang and Lei Dao were sitting together. Swordsman, you could block my saber with your bare fist. Your body is so strong. I have fought against countless experts in so many years in the Divine Land. There is no one, however, whose physique could compare with yours. Lei Dao admired. Your saber techniques are also terrifying, powerful and overwhelming. Recalling the saber techniques Lei Dao had wielded just now, Jian Wushuang also gasped in admiration. Ha ha, however powerful my saber techniques, you defeated me. Lei Dao laughed. By the way, your strength is so overwhelming. Yet, why haven't I heard about your name in the Iron Saber territory? I come from an outside continent, and have just arrived at the divine land. Jian Wushuang said. No wonder. Lei Dao was silent for a while. You cultivated in an outside continent but obtained the strength of stage 2. You are really amazing. Stage 2? Jian Wushuang frowned. Lei Dao, when you fought against me, you mentioned stage 2. What does stage 2 mean? You don't know. Lei Dao glanced at Jian Wushuang in astonishment, but he immediately understood. Right, anyway, you have just arrived at divine land. It's normal that you don't know this classification. Let me explain it to you. Lei Dao began to explain. You should know that there is no difference between the height of the realms within the Saint Realm. The difference just lies in the perception of the origin. Therefore, as long as you reach the Saint Realm, you'll be classified into 3 levels of momentum, domain, and pinnacle. Let's put aside momentum and domain, and just talk about the pinnacle. Pinnacle refers to the pinnacle of the Saint Realm, which means you have reached a certain level of origin perception. However, warriors at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm also have different strengths, and the differences can be very large. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. Warriors at the same pinnacle of the Saint Realm really could have huge disparity. Just like the battle strength of the first Holy Master was far more powerful than that of the other 3 Holy Masters in Nanyang continent, who was much stronger than other warriors at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. As for Jian Wushuang himself, he was also at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm, but he could very easily kill an ordinary warrior at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. Pinnacle of the Saint Realm is just a vague concept, and what really matters is the perception of the origin. The origin of heaven and earth is as vast as the sea. When you comprehend 1 water drop, you are at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. When you comprehend 100 water drops, you are still at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. The disparity, however, is substantial. According to the disparity, the pinnacle of the Saint Realm is divided into 3 stages.